Go home. I can't go home tonight. No, no.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special presentation here, special review of a little double feature that we did the other week. We meant to record this a while ago, but it actually kind of works out because now I think with Longlegs being out, we can really talk spoilers and not have to worry about anybody giving us shit for it. But welcome, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'm joined, of course, by my significant other here, my better half. What's up, baby? Hi, Bradley. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So we've got a couple films to talk about. Like I said the other week, you and I did a little double feature at the movies, and it kind of worked out. Like this is kind of the perfect double feature that we didn't intend to do, but with the timing and everything, it worked out really nice. So first film that we're going to talk about is, of course, the conclusion to the X trilogy, featuring the one and the only Mia Goth here, MaXXXine. Quick shout out! I just had to pull up a picture of him. Producer, executive producer, Kid Cudi. Great job! Phenomenal first film franchise to be a part of and producing and stuff. Shout out to Kid Cudi. But yeah, so this was the third film in the Pearl/X trilogy. What were your thoughts going into it, baby? What were you kind of expecting and stuff, and did it deliver for you?
I was pretty excited to see it. I like X and Pearl a lot, so definitely was high on my list for this year. So yeah, I was pumped to see it and was going into it expecting it to be a little better, but I thought it was good. Wasn't a horrible.
Would you say your thoughts have changed since walking out of the theater a bit? Now that you've had time to sit with it?
If anything, I kind of like a little more, but I didn't like it more than I liked Pearl.
Okay, so Pearl.
But I thought it was a stronger movie than both films, to be honest. I like Pearl a lot more, but I thought it was a stronger film. But yeah, I thought it was really good. Not as good as the one we saw afterwards, but
yeah, we'll get to that. I know that's the main reason why you're here. No, I really enjoyed MaXXXine. I mean, I like the kind of anthology story that they told. Like, even MaXXXine obviously is connected and references things from X and stuff. But I mean, you could go in there without watching X and still get a pretty good gist of what's going on in that scene. They all kind of tell their own story.
No, no.
I think you could.
I would say you need to see both films.
I mean, yes, it helps. It's not, but you could.
This
like,
is literally
it's not, like, unwatchable.
This is the conclusion to it.
Yeah.
So I would say you need to.
But I think that's the thing. Like even without watching the other two, it's a good movie on its own, standalone movie. Even like, yes, you should watch the other ones, absolutely, and stuff. But I think that gets important in these franchises.
Well, it's a part of a trilogy. I don't think the standalone movie. Part of a trilogy.
I'm not saying it's a standalone movie, but it's a good movie on its own. Without take X and Pearl away from it, it's still a good movie. And X and Pearl only add on to it and do all these other things. So like that's what I enjoyed about it. All these movies tell kind of a very unique story and are referencing certain films and certain, the X is the like kind of porno era of films in the 70s and stuff, and then Pearl is just its own, reference, kind of like 1940s movies, but like on a psycho type level, with like.
Well, that's why I like MaXXXine.
Yeah,
a little more, because like I do love that era film, and I do love how Pearl was filmed and how it's very much written to be like that, especially with Pearl's character and just. Everyone who worked on the film, they had great dialect too. That sounded just like that time period. It sounded just like old Hollywood. It just felt like
David Cornswet is an actor from old Hollywood. I swear, he's reincarnated from the 1930s or 40s.
And so did X. X felt like that with the 70s. But I love 80s movies a lot. I just love that time period. So I feel like that's why I probably like MaXXXine a lot more. Just because it felt like a modern 80s film, just like those two movies felt like modern films of the period.
Of the era that they were.
Homaging,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, definitely, it definitely has a interesting ending. I think that's the big controversy with it. So for those of you that don't know, spoilers ahead. That's the next thing I should get is a little spoiler thing to put up. But yeah, spoilers ahead for MaXXXine if you haven't seen it. But or X or Pearl if you haven't seen those. But yeah, so we're basically following up with MaXXXine after the events of the first film, X, where she kills Pearl and she gets out of this, crazy old lady house, and all these things happen and stuff while they're making this porno. And this is her follow-up. Even in that film, she's wanting to be a star, move out of the porn industry into actual films and those types of things. So MaXXXine follows her in the 80s as she goes to Hollywood and starts that journey. She's been cast in the sequel to a pretty well-known horror franchise in that universe called The Puritan. And this is all amongst, the Night Stalker is going on. All these other things are going on. Her past from X has followed her to LA. I mean, you think of it, a lot of threads, a lot of story threads and stuff that they, for the most part, I think wrap up and tell pretty well. I think and I think yours too, and a lot of people's complaint was kind of the Night Stalker storyline was shockingly short. I did not expect it to be that short.
Well, I mean, it's not really my problem with it. My problem with it was, it just kind of came out of nowhere, like who the reveal was. And like spoilers, like we said, the reveal was MaXXXine's father,
right?
Who was like this crazy religious, cult. It's pretty clear like there's a cult going on. He's probably the leader of it.
Well, I wouldn't even say. Okay, well,
no, it's a cult.
It is a cult.
Yeah,
what's interesting is it's a cult, but it's kind of it's a cult because of the things that they do at the end. They're killing people.
You missed the scene.
Yes,
you missed the scene where him and his like cult buddies. They were filming Halsey. Like all battered and bruised,
I watched it.
And because earlier in the film, in the opening, Halsey tells her about, there's this party like right under the Hollywood Hill sign.
Yeah,
Like you can see
there's
it.
a secret mansion in there. Yeah,
Whatever, cool party, pays a lot, typical, kind of thing. And you see her like being filmed, like with this kind of like rotoscope camera.
Right, and she's getting beat up and stuff.
That's like her being dragged. I think they hit her or something. Like, I don't know. But I think those are the bodies that she finds in the suitcases later too.
Yes,
When she rolls the suitcase or pushes it down the stairs.
Well, actually, no. That body is the
that
body of Lily Collins.
Oh yeah, who was not. She was like, I was like, okay. I mean, I don't really like Lily Collins. I don't really.
Oh yeah, she was just kind of a special. She didn't have much to do.
Her.
She didn't have much.
She was there for like 2 seconds, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they did her like.
Halsey was too. Halsey was.
I did like the gag with her death, because she was famous for that iconic face and like her screaming.
Right. Yes.
And that's how she died. So
yes,
that was kind of funny.
Yeah, there were some good things. I mean, I think definitely too. What I liked about that's what I liked about it is they made a cult kind of out of something very real at the time, which was the 80s, satanic horror.
Satanic Panic.
Yeah, Satanic Panic. I love that. And so, and that was all. I love seeing that in the movie. You had a bunch of, Christian protesters at premieres in the movie of horror movies and all these other things. And that was absolutely happening at the time with that and rock music and heavy metal and all these other things that, but that's what I thought was interesting. Yeah, they turned that kind of into a cult where, they're murdering people and murdering the Hollywood stars and all this stuff. And, definitely going for, that's the thing. It feels like you're kind of typical 80s, not typical, but it's a good, throwback, callback to those 80s horror movies. And then it kind of, by the end, turns into a horror 80s B movie by just how outrageous it gets, and she's this hero on the Hollywood Hills that just killed the murderer with the helicopter spotlight shining down on her and all this other stuff.
I loved it.
I do love that part, but it's so exaggerated.
It felt so, just, I know, like, we always talk about nostalgia, being done in films and how it's overdone and it's kind of oversaturated. It's an easy market. It's an easy mark when you're doing films, but I feel like these 3 films aren't that. I think they're more love letters.
Yes, absolutely. They
do, and they're treated with actual care behind it. They're not just, let's harken back on these moments. Let's milk the fuck out of these great moments and these great tropes and just endlessly just pour them on screen and play famous music. They didn't do that in any of these films. So
they did play a lot of famous music in MaXXXine, but I love it. But
it worked for the film.
That's
the 80s. The 80s feeling, that you want in an 80s film. Because there have been 80s films. I'm talking about you, Wonder Woman 84. Your whole movie is called 1984, and you play 280 songs.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Not to mention the film is horrible, but you can't even. And that's just one example, because there's a bunch of like modern 80s films that do that whole thing and don't play any 80s music.
Yeah.
There is too much, though. There's a thing that's too much.
No, I agree. I thought it worked. Everything that they did with the music and with the vibe and just the setting and all those things. I wasn't disappointed. It's just like definitely, that's the throw off and that's the twist. The trailers make you think that this is the Night Stalker and all this.
Well, I was just disappointed because it's just like the typical, not even that. It just like came out of nowhere, kind of like there was no really hints at that.
It's literally about 25 minutes into the movie that she murders the Night Stalker. It's like 25-30 minutes into the movie that she murders the Night Stalker.
What do you mean? Her dad was like.
I thought that guy that she steps on his face and beats in the middle of the street was the Night Stalker.
No, her dad was. Her dad. That's the whole point.
Okay,
The
maybe
dad
I
was the killer of the whole movie.
Well, I understand he was the killer, but I thought the Night Stalker was something else, and the dad.
No, it was her dad.
Okay.
Which is weirder because you missed another scene of her dancing pretty much partially naked in like one of those, booths that she, like there's a window that you sit in front of in those little rooms. But he wasn't like doing anything sexual. He was like more angry. He was like grabbing a piece of wood, and you can. One of my favorite things, one of my favorite pieces of
Is it meant to represent his
sound
wood?
effects. I love the sound of like a villain or someone angry in a movie or something gripping their hands with leather gloves.
Yeah.
And I love the Foley, like the leather Foley, like whatever they use for it. It just sounds so satisfying. And that's what he was doing.
They would probably use that, and what they do is they squeeze the glove and just put a mic to right next to the hand as he's actually.
Well, they probably did that too.
But I will say one thing I did love about the film, all the performances were great for me. Mia Goth, phenomenal as always. She is absolutely cemented herself as a scream queen. I don't think you can deny that.
Yeah, she is.
But she was phenomenal. I really loved Bobby Cannavale and Michelle. Whatever. You Italian fuck. I'm kidding.
I love that. I love his name.
Cannavale.
Cannavale.
It reminds me of like those Inglourious Bastards, when they're pronouncing their names but with super American accents to Christoph Waltz and Tony. He's like, okay. What part of France are you from? Got it. Okay. He was great. Michelle Mahonigan is phenomenal. I love her. The two detectives and stuff. Very, very much played into the like 80s trope detectives of that time, like kind of silly guy, not silly, but like he has this whole bit, where he's like he wanted to be an actor, so he gets really intimidating or tries to be really intimidating sometimes, and then ends up pissing Maxine off, and then Michelle's like, you fucked it up again. It's kind of this funny buddy cop chemistry that they have.
Yeah, they had good chemistry.
Giancarlo was great as her manager.
Yes.
He was a fun little
hairpiece.
That hairpiece was so good. And
I was finally some hair on this man.
There is a great part at the end where he shows up as in this kind of badass manner. That's pretty cool.
I love when they crushed Kevin Bacon in that fucking.
Bacon was great.
That fucking car.
Yes.
They just fucking crushed him. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I agree. Yeah, Kevin Bacon was definitely a highlight. I love Kevin. I love Kevin Bacon. I've always loved Kevin Bacon, and
I love Kevin Bacon. Yeah, he was great in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, he was great in Beverly Hills Cop 4 too.
He played well. He's always that's the thing. He's so good at either playing the good guy or the bad guy. He's very, very versatile in that in that sense. In that,
I think
dude, what he plays. I remember. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. God, Death Sentence.
No, I haven't. No.
It's with Kevin Bacon. It's one of James Wan's first films that he directed.
Oh, okay.
And this dude, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Not giving too much away. It's but he's a guy whose family is murdered. And he just plays it. You have the sympathy and stuff, and then he takes his revenge, and it's like, oh god, it's so good.
I think my favorite role of his is in The Following. Great show.
That was such a great series. That was
my favorite role of his.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've always been into Kevin Bacon, so that was a cool thing because it was like he was a movie star coming to TV, and you knew it was in that age where like when movie stars came to TV, it was like a really special thing. It's like you knew this show. When Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson came to True Detective.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. I mean, Sean Bean.
Yeah,
Sean
you're like
Bean in the first season. Got a lot of people watching that first season.
exactly. You're like, oh, this is
And there were some other actors in that first season too. Oh, Peter Dinklage, I would say he's a pretty big name.
yeah. Dinklage was big. Yeah, I mean, so definitely some great acting and stuff in there. I didn't really mind the ending. I mean, like I said, it was maybe a little out of nowhere. I kind of want to go back and watch X to see if there were any hints or anything that she mentions of her dad.
There wasn't.
Or okay, so yeah, that did feel kind of out of nowhere. I wish they would have like dropped some things.
There was only the scene in the movie, which they gave it away. They did that. I think it was earlier in the film when they like showed the preacher on the TV.
Okay, yeah.
You kind of see her get triggered a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, so that's part of her backstory. I was like, she's part of a preacher, or not part of a preacher. When she's part of a religious background in that sense. Probably very toxic, probably Midwestern. So made sense. And I kind of figured it would have something to do with that maybe towards the end, because there was some religious stuff here and there. So it's like, okay, so it'll probably have something to do with maybe someone chasing her down from her past.
I didn't realize, that it was turning that 80s satanic panic into like a violent cult, cult like thing, which I thought was, that was very interesting, because maybe that wouldn't happen back then, but I feel like that would absolutely happen today with the extremism of like, how some of these people look at movies today and stuff and all that. Like, I could very much see something like that happening in today's world. So that was kind of the interesting modern twist. But yeah, overall, what were your final thoughts on MaXXXine? Where do you place it in the trilogy, and what's your ranking?
I think it's the best one because I just love it the best.
Okay, the best one. Wow.
But I prefer Pearl. It's weird. Like I maybe have to see it again. I need to watch all three to maybe like solidify my like ranking.
Yeah.
But like right now, I really love the feeling of this movie that it gave me. What it did, how it concluded the stuff that happened in X, and maybe a little bit in Pearl, not really, because Pearl is kind of its own standalone kind of thing. It didn't really need to connect to Pearl, even though it kind of did here and there, because we saw Pearl throughout the film. Mia Goth, I probably did the makeup again. I wonder if she did just for those shots. Can I just say, like, my favorite shots of the film, and I love the fact that they shot that not only did we see two cult films the same night,
we saw two religious.
But in MaXXXine, they are at Bates Motel, which is
that's cool.
Obviously.
Well, it's cool because it's in the context of like they're on the Universal lot and they're on these other things, and all these other cool things.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, Osgood Perkins, the guy who directed Longlegs, the next film we're about to talk about, is the son of Anthony Perkins. So that was kind of a cool connection. And my favorite shot of the film was Pearl in the same window that Norma Bates was in.
Yeah, that was great too. Yeah, that was very good.
So I thought that was a great shot.
That was a cool connection. Obviously, I do think the connection too of both of them being kind of leaning into religious cult or religious horror, and that type of stuff. But, me, I love religious horror is probably my favorite type of horror. Coming from a religious background, that's very relevant to me and very, I think, interesting because it encapsulates a lot of concepts and ideas that I've had over time about religion after coming out of it. So.
It's good when it's done right.
Oh yeah,
it's overdone a lot for me.
Yeah.
It's not more of a slasher. I'm more of a gore guy. I like gore slashers and stuff like that. But I also love like very methodical, paced out stuff like Silence of the Lambs and just to name one.
You're gonna hate me for that. Hereditary is probably one of my favorite supernatural
Not for me.
or horror movies too. I
No.
absolutely love that. That just
There's
and
only
that's another thing coming from like not only a religious background but a ethnic background. Like that whole concept of like the mother passing down some sort of curse or generational thing like that was very like hit home for me. I was like, oh shit, that's so yeah, Hereditary pulled it off.
nothing will ever beat The Exorcist for me.
Nothing.
The
will ever beat
Exorcist
The
is like
Exorcist.
God.
Nothing. Will. Yes, I agree with you. To this day, it's in my.
And
Yeah.
what's even better, it wasn't intentionally made to be that either.
I think that's probably what makes it so great.
Which makes it so great. And
Yeah.
Friedkin is one of the many directors that people doubted a lot, and everyone slept on Sorcerer for so long. I don't know what.
What's funny is I would kind of consider The Exorcist early psychological horror mixed with some jump scares, some freaky stuff and elements with the exorcism and stuff, but a lot of it is psychological. A lot of it, you have the first half hour, 45 minutes is they don't even talk about an exorcism. They go through mental health stuff and all these other things. And is she crazy? She's in a hospital and all this other stuff. So it's a lot. It is very psychological in my opinion.
I would kind of count another one I saw recently that's by Osgood as well that I watched.
Oh,
the Blackcoat's Daughter. I thought that was a really great kind of paranormal and psychological kind of thriller. I don't know.
Well, let's speaking of Osgood, let's talk about Longlegs here.
Let's talk about the birthday girl.
Bro, such a creepy movie. So I went into this movie blind. I had not seen any of the trailers. I'd seen some of the marketing, like posters and all those types of things. But I hadn't seen any of the trailers or anything like that. So I went in pretty blind, and yeah, it was really, really, really good. I think there are maybe just a couple execution things, but overall, I think the biggest thing about it is the direction is absolutely phenomenal. It is one of the best directed films of the year for sure. It's one of those movies where everything has a purpose in a shot and all those things. Everything has intention. Osgood was very, very intricate, about shots and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what did you think of the direction, the overall vibe of the movie and those types of things?
No, I think this was definitely my most anticipated film of the year.
Yeah.
Next to the one we're seeing in a few days.
Mine's still Gladiator 2.
Okay, no. It's Deadpool Wolverine. I cannot wait to see. But no, that and there's a few other ones that I can't wait that we're getting a trailer for in a few days too for Terrifier and stuff.
Gladiator 2, yeah.
No. But yes, this is one of the very few films that I had so much hype for, and it didn't let me down. Like I avoided what everyone was trying to say, but I agreed with everyone else. Like if this movie wasn't good, I was probably going to kill myself. And it was good. It was very good. Directing was fantastic.
Yeah.
The performances were fantastic. Blair Underwood, Micah Monroe, Nicolas Cage, what's her name? The mom, who I did not, Alicia Witt, the mother, who I didn't realize someone pointed out on Twitter that she played young Aaliyah in David Lynch's Dune. I mean, I've seen her in multiple things. I've seen her around a lot, but I didn't realize she came from Dune, 1984, which I thought was pretty interesting because she plays like a very menacing, kind of character in that.
Right.
But yeah, everybody was great. The story was great. Performances were fantastic. Um, Watching Blackcoat's Daughter the other day, I feel like this was definitely more strongly directed and written. Because Blackcoat's Daughter was great, and I really liked it. But I feel like it was a good stepping stone to get to this.
Yeah.
If that makes sense,
Yeah.
Both
I definitely want to watch it for sure. Especially I've heard
like
things about it that it's again. I'm coming from a spot where, for me, spiritual horror, all that type. That's my vibe. I love all of it. I love all the horror, but yeah, that's my favorite probably type of horror. I don't discriminate, but I love gore too. I love all the others, but this was just one that it nailed it. It nailed it so well for me. His whole, this guy Cage's character literally worships the devil. Summons some sort of demon or demonic thing, or if it's the devil himself. I mean, that's what I thought was interesting about it. We talked about a little bit earlier today, was that I thought up until maybe about halfway through the movie, because she's constantly saying he's got an accomplice. There's somebody else involved here. It's not just him and all that. I thought that it would literally be the devil himself, or be some sort of actual, even though there is a supernatural aspect to the ending, even more so, I guess. There is a lot of satanic imagery. I think I saw today, there's 15 images of the devil, whether it's in a mirror or in a window or shadow or all these types of things in the film. So all of these things are happening because of this guy's worship of the devil and all these things. He's kind of put this. I kind of refer to it as a curse. I don't really know what the exact reference Osgood had for it, but this thing on her that yes, she was there at the crime scene and stuff, but I think she's very sensitive to, it's almost like she can see the crime. She understands this in a definitely deeper level than your typical cop or detective.
Watching a second time, because I do kind of agree, the third act first watching it, felt kind of.
I like the third
act. Well, I like the third act too, but it just felt kind of sudden. It just kind of because I rewatched it again, and I loved it even more, and I understood it a lot more. Not that I thought that there was much left to understand, because I thought that the film laid everything out pretty blatantly clear.
Yes.
I didn't feel like this is a film that you need to watch. Some people might, though, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a big fan of horror movies and just you're aware of tropes and how things are written and stuff like that, you might see this in a different lens.
Yeah.
But I didn't personally feel like I needed to see here's 35 things about Longlegs you need to know that you couldn't figure out,
that you missed. Yeah.
Because I felt like everything was pretty easily
very well
easily put out there,
especially for adding that I think that's a big thing that hinders a lot of these types of movies that try to add a supernatural element to a detective story or anything. Is they leave that supernatural element up for the most part to imagination, which can work, but this definitely does explain it very, very well, while also leaving that good, because if there's a supernatural element to it, there has to be an unexplainable element to it. You know what I mean? That's, for me, that just comes with supernatural. It's unexplainable. You can't science whatever, but it does a good job of explaining everything else up until that point. That little unexplainable thing is is the fun kind of mystery of it. That's like, oh wow, this is something bigger, deeper than just a guy, serial, doing serial murders, that type of thing. You know, uh, I absolutely love the kind of backstory of again, spoilers. If you have not seen Longlegs, stop here, go watch it, come back later, because it's definitely worth the watch. But yeah, so there's this doll that Longlegs, Nicolas Cage's character, crafts, and we end up finding out the accomplice is the main detective, Mika Monroe's mother and stuff, and it kind of references back to a scene from the beginning and stuff. My big thing with you is I know you're not the biggest fan of supernatural elements in films and stuff, so I'm curious, like, really what you thought of how this was presented with this whole kind of. At the end of the day, it's a demonic thing taking over the family and doing all of these things. Like, it is very supernatural and spiritual in that sense. But how did you think that worked in the film for you?
I feel like it worked really well. It was very creepy.
And also, real quick, did you expect it?
Did I expect what? Oh, to be
the supernatural? Yeah, supernatural.
No, because that's just not something I expect at all with horror films. I don't expect any horror film to creep me out.
Not creep you out, but have that again, demonic, supernatural, we're worshiping the devil type thing.
Well, did
you expect it from this movie, from Longlegs?
Well, from all the promotion, because I did see.
You watched the trailers and stuff, yeah.
I watched 2 trailers. I think there was only 2 or 3, I think. But the last trailer I watched, they gave away a lot. Okay. They gave it away a lot. And I was very, it's basic marketing, so I'm not mad about it. But it just, I was like, I wish I didn't watch it. But I stayed away from everything after that. I would watch some promos here and there.
Real quick, can I just ask you, what did they show in the second trailer that gave anything away?
They just showed the basic structure of the film. Like, oh, this FBI agent going after this serial killer that they might think they have an accomplice. Who's the accomplice? Who is he? They gave away the basic structure.
Oh, wow. They even say the accomplice. Okay, wow.
Well, I think they pretty much give away that.
Wow, okay.
Well, at least I got that. I haven't watched it since it first came out because I just avoided all of it until now. But
I'll bring it up.
we can watch it,
yeah,
and see if you want. But yeah, like the demonic stuff and all that stuff was executed really cool, and great. I'm not trying to give away anything about Blackcoat's daughter, but it's quite literally the same imagery.
Okay.
With like this kind of hooded demon.
Well, I will say this: Osgood did say like that it is the devil himself. It's not a demon. It's Satan. It's
also the case. Well, it's also the case in the other movie.
Yeah,
which is why they could be in the same universe.
Right.
And I could make the argument, to be honest. I know our good friend Tim also talked to me about that too. Which, they easily could be, which is really even better. But yeah, that part of the film really creeped me out. That's not really what creeped me out though. The tension building, the just character building, Nicolas Cage's performance, cannot be understated enough, was really, really creepy.
This was one thing that
he's always creepy
for a little bit. There are moments of very uneasiness, yes, that he brings to the film. I do think there, and the moments that, like, I'm not trying to say it's hard because I don't have a lot of complaints with the films. It's not even that big of a complaint. It's just maybe 2 or 3 times that he goes a little overboard, where that uneasiness, creepiness, then goes into just like full, just like, okay, this is silly. This is a little, like,
Well, those moments worked for that character though, because he's
what
insane. Like he is quite literally insane.
I think it worked.
And something else.
Sometimes it worked. It worked 90% of the time. I understand, like, that's probably one big complaint, or not big complaint, or one thing that if people weren't crazy about the movie, people were very on and off with Cage's. This is a character.
I thought it was great. Nothing was wrong about it.
This is a character performance, which I love character performances, so I'll never give him shit for that. It's just, I think, again, maybe 2 or 3 times of the times that he's on screen that it actually like goes, from creepy uneasiness to just like, okay.
That's the thing when you're watching.
But I'm not upset about it. Yeah.
Going into this, yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah,
I
I'm
want Nicolas Cage to do that. I want. I get what you're saying, though.
Yes.
But for me
myself, I'm a character actor, so that's what I personally lean into. Like whenever I want to act or play a role or anything, like it's kind of funny that I think about it. Like kind of like Paul. It's a little similar to like Paul Dano in the Batman. It's very uneasy and good at times, and then at times there are moments he goes over but it's a character. It's that's what I like about it. It's hard for me to criticize because they really are, they're doing something very different from then if it were just Paul Dano or just Nicolas Cage or just these guys playing themselves or a version.
No, and the thing that makes more sense about Nicolas Cage's character, Longlegs, his character is that they did interviews with the costume designer and Osgood and Nicolas Cage and stuff, and Nicolas Cage revealed that the reason why his spoiler alert, his face is all fucked up. We're past that point, so his face is all fucked up. He looks like fucking Marilyn Manson if he got like chewed up by a dog. He looks disgusting, but the reason why he looks like that is I guess he was continuously getting Botox surgery and continuously getting like plastic surgery, trying to perfect his image for Satan, basically, is why he looks that fucked up.
Right.
Which I thought was really interesting, really fascinating. Something I wish they kind of went into in the movie.
A little bit more, yeah.
Just a little bit. I didn't need them to I didn't actually need them to stop the movie and do that. But it just would have been a nice touch, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that there's so these creepy little moments and these creepy little details, like her mother keeping all of her teeth and hair and fingernails and stuff like that. It's just really creepy. It's really weird. Not the creepiest movie I've ever seen. Not the scariest movie I've ever seen.
I'll be honest, it's another one.
One of them.
Absolutely. It's another thing that, again, kind of leans into the Hereditary thing where, yeah, that's with cults and with demonic and just all that stuff. It's interesting because I'm used to hearing this type of stuff again because of the ethnic, that like especially Mexican culture and all these types of things. That's like, it's just very well known, very like kind of taught, passed down, to generations, that it's very supernatural, weird spiritual things and stuff. I mean, we do Day of the Dead and all that crazy stuff, so. But this had that same vibe to me where, again, there was this, it's on no fault of the daughter, right? On Mika Monroe's character and stuff, it's a deal with the devil that her mother made. But it becomes this generational, this curse on her, this passed down thing on her, kind of like the sins of your parents passed down to you type thing. Which I find very interesting, and I absolutely love that concept, especially these types of movies.
I'd say my biggest question, that I got out of the movie too, was like, because this is about Osgood's mother, which is interesting, because she is based pretty much
Interesting.
on his mother. Which, if you don't know Osgood, I think is I'm pretty sure he's gay. He's they were very religious. They give him a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
So they did a lot. Anthony and his mother, I forgot her name, but they were not perfect parents. Which, granted, not all parents are perfect. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But who is perfect? Not anyone's perfect. So it's pretty much about, that's what the character is based on. And what's interesting about that too is Longlegs was that for Nicolas Cage's performance as well. That was his basis. His mother was kind of touched with mental, illness and stuff like that. And he talks about that a lot. And he said that, the way he talks in the movie is exactly how she would talk.
Right.
And I just love the fact that, like 2 or 3 years ago, he started practicing the voice on his family at Christmas.
Wild. Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is terrifying. Thank you. Please.
Imagine Francis Ford at the head table just going, yeah, stop.
Yes.
Stop it.
Please.
If
we ever
Jason Schwartzman across the dinner table.
If we ever meet him in Vegas, because he lives here, please never do that, Nick. Please. I will shit myself.
I absolutely love the fact that he's a Coppola.
Yeah.
Like, thinking about him saying that I tried it on my family. So Francis, Jason, Gia, and all these other
Well, I think
but
yeah, he was fantastic. Everyone was fantastic in this. I think this was the first. Forgive me if I'm wrong. It's the first time editor or first time cinematographer. Which one was it? Or I think it was first time color correcting guy. I forgot what it was, but it was somebody's first time doing something on this movie that was pretty important. I just forgot exactly what it was. It was one of those things. But they did a great job as well. The look of the movie, the long shot approach of the film, like you're kind of like, with Lee when she goes in the backyard in the opening, in the beginning of the film, when Longlegs is in her house. Great shot, great tension building, great cinematography. Everything looked great. And talk about a great theater experience, because we don't really have amazing theater experiences, regarding in terms of the people around us. A lot of people are dicks everywhere in theaters.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of people don't want to go back. Just one of them, not to mention how expensive it is, but people are just dicks. And they're annoying as fuck. And this was not one of those, except maybe someone next to me kept talking. She was pointing out stuff as it was being revealed. And I was like, okay, bitch, we know we're watching the movie with you. We know everything that's happening. You don't need to say it out loud. Calm down. I think she was trying to explain it to her boyfriend, but he was nodding his head. He's like, yeah, I get it. I know I'm watching it too. You don't need to explain it to me. I could just see how annoyed he was. But yeah, it was a good theater experience. Everyone clapped at the end, which is, we clapped, applaud. Everyone also clapped for Nicole Kidman's ad.
Yes.
So yeah, great experience, great film.
Yeah,
There's not really much I can say else about it, except for the fact that maybe watch it a second time. For anybody who's seen it once, watch it a second time. It makes a lot more sense. I feel like it feels a lot more smoother towards the end, especially if you had kind of any issues, kind of like I did. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think for the most part, it did everything well. I do want to see it again to kind of give it that. I loved it and stuff, but I think that will determine really, okay, well, was it great for me and really, really up there, or more just kind of more in the middle of my top 10 list of the year and stuff. And so, Performances were great. Writing was great. Definitely a great callback also to like 90s noir type thrillers, Seven Vibes, and for me, I know there's a lot of comparisons to Silence of the Lambs. I think the only one that I can really make is that the uneasiness of the character of Longlegs is similar into that the uneasiness of the character of Hannibal Lecter, and
Well,
very extreme.
it was Osgood's inspiration to.
Right. You only see the character for about maybe 10 minutes in the film, throughout. It's very much Mika Monroe's movie and her story and all of that, but that I think that's probably for me the closest comparison I can really make, because even the things that they do with the character of Longlegs are incredibly different from what they do with Silence of the Lambs and the character of Hannibal Lecter, and even the design and flow of that film. So that's what I like, is that's the type of inspiration I like. Like, it's inspired by that uneasiness and creepiness, but
no one is saying it's like Silence of the Lambs because the performance is similar. It's similar,
but not even. I don't even think the story is very similar.
It's similar because you literally take the trope of, just a classic kind of story of FBI agent or police detective against.
That's similar, yes.
And it's personal.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's not just a run-of-the-mill serial killer. It's someone really malicious, really doing something that's shaking the police academy or the FBI, or a specific person. That's the main influence.
Sure, or based off some like spiritual thing, religious thing.
Yeah.
Even Silence has that.
But like the director said, if they made the film with that intention, it would have failed. I don't think it would have.
Yeah. I agree. No, I do agree, because that's even with all those, I agree. Like, yeah, there's that personal connection with cop and killer and all that stuff, like Seven and Silence of the Lambs. Yes, but it's still done very differently and in its own unique way and stuff that I can't. It's really hard for me to compare them, because it's like, besides the uneasiness and the creepiness and just like vibe of the movie, everything else is very, very different, but in a good way, and that's what it should be. And so I thought it was great.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be compared to that at all, but it feels like a modern day. Like if Silence of the Lambs and Seven had a baby, a little bit, but again, like still very. This is for me personally. Okay, I don't. You don't need to agree with it. This is for me.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I just think, again, very much. I think, like I said, does its own thing, and especially like Seven and Silence definitely don't have that supernatural aspect to it like this does. It definitely doesn't. Again, spoilers, been through that, but Nicolas Cage's character kills himself halfway through the film. There's a lot of things in it that definitely separate it for me in the best type of way.
Which is good. Yeah.
But before we go, I did want to take a look at this lady here, because I saw this earlier and it just gave me a good laugh. And this just tells you this is a horror film that you should go see when you're getting these type of reactions from the community. Because let me tell you something, I consider myself, I guess, what would be in the realm of Christianity, as much as I hate where it's gone. But this lady sure did give me a good laugh earlier.
Hi, everybody. So this is the very first time that I post anything on
2 minutes,
really like this. But I felt like I really needed to share this with everybody. If you are a Christian,
she's got her worship music playing in the background too. It's
been
great.
Following Christ for years or whatever, we applaud that, right? We love that. But don't go watch The Longlegs. This movie is tailored specifically for following that guy down.
Which is so funny. Again, I would consider myself, as much as it's in that realm of Christianity, not what I think a lot of modern Christianity is, but I believe in Jesus and all that stuff. Read the Bible, and just because a serial killer's motivations in a movie is because he worships Satan doesn't mean that the movie itself is telling you to worship Satan or doing this whole thing, or because, and this is why I wanted you to watch it, is because she'll say how she felt
And
in the
it
theater.
angers me because it's like Hollywood's attempt to get to your families.
It's the satanic panic, baby, all over
And
again.
I'm not going to give that guy down there any
Is she
credit at all.
aware how
Let me tell you that
It's her first
popular-
video ever on TikTok and the social media. Give her some credit.
is she aware how popular the Conjuring movies are?
She probably, this is my guess too, in the hypocrisy of most Christians, she probably loves The Conjuring.
You know how many kids that were in the theater when I saw The Conjuring 2?
I love The Conjuring. A lot of Christians love the Conjuring movies because it's very well known that the Warrens were Christians, and even in the movies, as
This is just a classic.
Go ahead.
Just a classic brainwashed person.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But even a lot of Christians give Conjuring grace because in the movies, they're whatever they're casting out, they are using Jesus or God to defeat it.
Actually, let me back up. Even watching this movie, I didn't look at the trailer. I thought maybe it was just a horror movie
Me neither.
based on this FBI agent looking
I
for
still
a
loved
murder
it.
suspect. Well, it was way deeper than that. Sitting there, I felt sick.
Oh.
I felt a certain way.
Good.
I felt anxiety.
Don't watch
Did you watch,
Terrifier.
did you watch all of
I
the
knew
1 hour
something
and
was wrong.
45 minutes of
I've
the movie?
never felt this way in my entire life with any type of movie.
I hope you did.
You
Which
guys
is so
don't
funny
watch
to
it.
me because
Do not watch this
I-
movie. I went to
Do
the
not watch
bathroom.
it.
I left
As
the
I
movie.
just,
I
as I'm sitting in
cried.
the parking lot after I just paid
sobbed
to
like
watch
I
it.
have
Oh,
never
wait,
cried.
babe. Hold on. Wait.
I sobbed like I
Wait.
had never cried.
Wait.
I went to the bathroom. I left the movie. I cried. I sobbed like I have never cried for anything this way, but I knew that was God telling me, get out of there.
There's God.
I did. I prayed so hard for forgiveness for watching this movie.
Got to pray for
I
forgiveness.
prayed for people walking
Oh
out
my
of the
God.
movie silently, but it was, for me, it didn't set well with me, guys. Yeah, that's all I have to say. This is the
I hope you realize posting this, especially if I know you're on TikTok, bitch. If you're posting this, you are giving more incentive to young people and just people in general. Like, if I didn't know anything about this, like if I wasn't a horror movie fan or was just a casual person
Well,
and saw that video, I would be like, I want to see this movie now.
the quote tweet for this was from Beyond Fest. It says, "I cried, sobbed, I prayed for forgiveness. This is the best possible endorsement to see Longlegs. Praise the Lord."
Like it's
I completely agree. With that, everybody, go check out these movies, MaXXXine and Longlegs. If you've made it this far into it, I hope you already have, and you're just giving your thoughts. Let us know what you thought in the comments down below, or as you were watching the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Babe, you want to let them know where you can find where they can find you, and if you got anything coming up.
I mean, yeah, you can find me at Compatible Cinema, and yeah, I'll be doing a Godzilla tier ranking here soon. Maybe this week. We'll see. Yeah, this should be out pretty soon. And nothing else really. I mean, maybe some gaming stuff, but that's it.
Heck yeah. And then there'll be some more videos on this channel as well. Obviously, we've got the Acolyte review that just went up the other day, as well as a new show coming soon and some other things. So make sure and keep a lookout for that. We'll have a boys review as well. And a Comic-Con live stream coming up this weekend. So keep a lookout for that as we, keep up with all the updates coming out of the con and all that stuff. So a lot of stuff coming to the channel. Check out Bradley's channel and his links, his Twitter, everything is in the description below. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in and watching.
MyOF.
if you haven't seen these movies, check them out. And again, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time, and peace out.
Peace.